G'day, welcome back to the channel, Ginger Ninja's Movie Reviews. I am the Ginger Ninja and these are my Trashy Tuesday movie reviews, and this week we're looking at something that, Trashy doesn't even begin to describe this one. Wow, I'm still processing what I watched. We are looking at The Greasy Strangler from 2016. Now, this film was directed by Jimhosking. It stars Michael St. Michaels, Skyelobar, Elizabethderazzo, and more. So we're going to get into it. And look, the plot: Ronnie runs a disco walking tour with his son Brayden. When a sexy woman takes a tour, it becomes a competition between father and son for her love. It also signals the arrival of an oily strangler who stalks the streets at night. Yeah, now look, this is honestly one of those what the fuck did I just watch films. Like I said, I am still processing what I actually watched. I'm trying to define this film, and look, the closest I can come to thinking it's something very similar or in the same vein as a trauma film. So look, if you like trauma, you're going to get a kick out of this one. Now, this is not a movie you would casually recommend to someone without knowing their tolerance for extreme weirdness, because this will take them to the limits of weird, absurd, unusual. This is a film that's as greasy as the title suggests. A grotesque, absurdist comedy that takes a concept of cult film and pushes it to new and uncomfortable extremes. And you may walk away feeling like you need to take a shower afterwards. But look, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the film, I do want to say a big thank you to all my new and existing subscribers. Like, I know I say it every week, but seriously, thank you so much for your continued support. I truly do appreciate it. Yeah, refreshing to see such a great community coming together and just enjoying films for what they are, or at least hearing others' opinions on it. Anyway, let's get into this one. Okay, so let's have a look at the cast. And look, the performances are intentionally strange and offbeat, and they perfectly fall in line with the film's tone. Michael St. Michaels delivers a committed, larger-than-life performance as Big Ronnie, and he plays a character with this unhinged blend of arrogance and sleaze. His performance is oddly captivating, and he fully embraces the character's cartoonish eccentricities and grotesque appetites. The desire for grease in everything is just puts a bad taste in your mouth, to be honest. But yeah, but yeah, you've also got Skyelobar, and hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly, as Brayden, and he's Big Ronnie's son. He's Big Brayden. He plays a slightly more sympathetic character, though he leans more into the film's bizarreness of it, because he is a very awkward and he has a very meek presence, and it creates a very odd counterbalance to Ronnie's grotesque energy. Now, Elizabethderazzo as Janet, she is a love interest of both characters, and she actually feels more like a plot device rather than a fully fleshed out character. Her motivations and affections seem rather arbitrary and almost mechanical. It's not to say she does a bad job, it's just it doesn't really feel like honest. is probably the best way I can describe it. And that makes it hard to emotionally engage with her character as part of this love triangle. Now, moving on to the film's directing and the writing, and look, the film style is purposefully cheap. It's almost as if they're daring you to look away. Don't stare too long at this film. It's got a very exaggerated use of awkward silences, grotesque nudity, and very cartoonish violence. And I'll touch on that in the effects as well. But Hosking and the cast, they really go all in on the weirdness. They do not hold back. And it feels like they are totally in on the joke. And you can tell this is a film that's made with a sense of freedom, which is kind of like what I mentioned when it feels like it's in the same vein as a trauma film, because they really do go all out in their films. And the cast are in on the joke as well of those films. Like they know what they're doing. They know it's a trauma film, it's low budget, they know it and they play to it. And that's very much the same with this. They don't care if it makes you uncomfortable or if you're going to be laughing at them. You know, it's all part of the ride. The tone of this film, it does walk a very fine line, or a razor's edge between being intentionally repellent and hilariously absurd. And at times it feels like a feature-length skit that dares its audience to stay with it. And it does revel in its continual confrontational ugliness. And that's not exactly a bad thing either. Now, despite its outward lunacy, The Greasy Strangler touches on some really recognisable themes. Now, and some of those are the strained relationships between father and son. Toxic masculinity is a big one in this, and also the absurdity of some family dynamics. However, any attempt to find any deeper meaning in this film often feels overshadowed by its commitment to weirdness and gross out humour. Yeah, whilst there is a definite Freudian undercurrent to the father and son rivalry, especially when it comes to that love triangle, it's delivered in such an outlandish and hypersexualized manner that it's hard to take it seriously. You know, the film seems more interested in shocking and grossing you out than it does having any thematic statement. So now we move on to the effects, and look, this is a perfect background because I mentioned the eyes and I'll get to that in a moment, but when it comes to horror, the strangling scenes are less about genuine terror and more about the absurdity. The kills are comically exaggerated, with the victim's eyeballs, you know, popping out in a very cartoonish way. You know, it's very much, you can just tell. The practical effects are intentionally cheap looking, and that adds to this film's rather offbeat and oddball charm. The greasiness of the Strangler is emphasised in an almost nauseating degree. Like, it's thick, it's caked on, it's disgusting. And in the aftermath of his murders, with the slapping and screaming sounds as he cleans himself in a car wash, just that sound, that slapping sound was enough to, gag worthy. But look, it's intentionally gross, and it's clear the filmmakers are really enjoying that. Now, rewatchability is a tough one because, like I said, I'm still processing what the hell I just watched. You know, it's hard to say if I would ever watch this again. But am I glad I did watch it? Yes, I am. This is a type of film that needs to be seen to be believed, because if I told you about it, you'd just say, bullshit artist. And if you've seen the film, you know what that means. So, final verdict. And look, The Greasy Strangler is a fever dream, and I know I've used that term a lot in describing the movies, particularly the Phantasm series, but it's a fever dream of weirdness, and it's an exercise in extreme surreal cinema that, look, honestly, it'll divide viewers right down the middle. It's intentionally off-putting, with grotesque visuals, bizarre dialogue, and a story that defies logic and convention. For some, it's going to be a cult classic and they're going to love it. It's full of quotable moments and ridiculous humour. For others, it's going to be an unbearable experience that they wish they could unsee. For me, I'm still not sure exactly where I land on this one. Yeah, I think overall for a score, I've got to give it a 6 out of 10. There you have it. That is The Greasy Strangler in a nutshell. Okay, I don't know, have you seen this film? If you have, well, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below, because I'm really keen to hear your thoughts on it, because like I said, I'm still going through the motions of trying to figure out what the fuck I just watched, because it's still rattling around up in my brain. But anyway, look, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please do hit the thumbs up button, it'd be much appreciated. And you've made it this far, you might as well hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I do release a new review. We are coming up to the end of September, so what's up next month? Well, if you watched last week's video or any of my previous ones, you would know 31 Days of Halloween is just around the corner. But I'm also doing 31 Days of Treehouse of Horror. That's right, so every day there will be a 60-second review and a 60-second review of The Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors. So a movie and an episode of The Simpsons. Yeah, it's going to be exhausting, but you know what? I've really been enjoying JT's horror discussions. Check him out. Great guy, great content. He's actually been doing a lot of The Simpsons shorts, and they've really inspired me to do this. So big shout out to him. Thanks very much, mate. Appreciate it. And also, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, have a great day. Bye.